off the agenda by the superintendent. I don't hear anybody out there.
I'm here, but I don't see board members. We may have lost board members. Or maybe they never got on.
I'm here. Roll call.
Mr. Williams, you're
Yes,
going to
ma'am.
appreciate this. Can you see it?
All right, there you go. Good.
Inspired by you.
Oh, thank you. I see a mask behind Miss Moss there. What hanging on the wall? I can't hear what you're saying. You're muted, but
It's a Mardi Gras mask.
oh,
See?
okay. There we
Yeah.
go.
They can hear me.
There she is.
Nobody heard the prayer and nobody heard the
So we have to do it over?
See if they
Did
I
this
think
so.
Can
We didn't
anybody
hear-
hear me?
I
I
can
don't
now.
think the other board members were on, so I would suggest that we start over from the beginning with the flag salute and prayer.
We can't hear them.
I should have asked if they. heard
Everybody
me.
should be good now, David.
Oh,
And so can you hear us?
Yep.
Yes.
everybody's-
okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, do we start over with the
Yes.
pledge and the, okay. So please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Shirley, you want to do the prayer?
I will be glad to. Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the day and the blessings you've given us. Pray that you'll give us guidance and wisdom in every decision that we make. We thank you for the opportunity that you've given us to live in America and live in Sumter County and to serve the children and taxpayers of this district. We pray that you'll be with all of our school leaders and teachers, instructors, and non-instructs and parents of our children, that you will help protect them all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Call this meeting to order, June 16th, 2020, regular school board meeting. Can everybody hear me now, board members?
Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay, and the time, we've had to restart, so the time is 5:41 for the record. So we're going to 1.21, items removed from the agenda, 7.05, First Steps Children Care Agreement, 1.21A, items added to the agenda, 2.04, 7.05, 8.06, 9.715, 9.50, 10.01, 10.02, 10.04, 10.05, 10.11, 10.12, 10.15, 12.50, and 17.50. 1.121B, items moved to another location on the agenda is 10.18. Item 122, vote to adopt the agenda as recommended by the superintendent.
Sally Moss, so moved.
Motion by Sally Moss,
Jennifer Boyette, second.
second by Ms. Boyette. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Do we need to say their names when they vote? Okay, please say your names when you vote. And before you do, I need to say Ms. Joyner is not in the meeting tonight. She is not able to be here. So
Sally
now-
Moss, Sally Moss, yes.
Jennifer Boyette, yes.
David Williams, yes.
Motion approves. Next, we go to 1.22, vote to adopt the agenda as recommended. Oh, we did that. 1.23, vote to approve the consent agenda as recommended by the superintendent.
David Williams, so moved.
Sally Moss, second.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Ms. Moss. All those in favor?
Sally Moss, yes.
Jennifer Boyette, yes.
David Williams, yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next, I gotta turn my page because I'm on paper here. Next, we go to hearings, 2.01, board rule policy, 5200 attendance, 2019 with public input. Is there any public that would like to input? Put anything in, and there's nothing here, no one here. So seeing none, 2.04, in addition, Ms. Moffett, the Code of Student Conduct, Student and Parent Rights, Parent Guide 2020-21, school year with public input. Again, there's no public in here. I don't know that there's any online with us, but yeah, they had to ask the questions ahead of time. So seeing
Sally
none.
Moss has the question.
Okay, Ms. Moss.
I just wanted to confirm that the yellow highlighted areas are the changes or additions as we discussed before.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
There
thank you.
might have been one or two since then, like a policy number or something like that, but nothing of major substance. But everything highlighted is a change from last year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion to approve both 0201 and 0204.
Jennifer Boyette, second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Moss, second by Ms. Boyette. All those in favor?
Sally Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
Motion passes. Next, we go to presentations, 3.04. Ms. Moffett, the resolutions in memory of former employees. And 3.04, the resolution for Marcus Hawkins.
Yeah, this has been a difficult time for us to be able to honor some of our former employees. We've held them for a while for some of them. And so what we've done is to go ahead and do these tonight, and everything will be mailed home with a letter explaining our process for these. But unfortunately, we had several that we need to honor tonight. One is Joanne Hamilton, who had 25 years with us. And this is what the basic resolution says, and then I'll talk about each one of them in just a second. Whereas Joanne Hamilton was a devoted and conscientious employee that provided services to the children, youth, family, and staff of Sumter County for 25 years. And whereas Joanne demonstrated exceptional ability in the performance of her duties and assignments given her. And whereas in addition of her dedication as an employee of the Sumter County school system, she was an active and willing worker in her community where her influence reached many. Now, therefore, it be resolved by the Sumter County School Board that the board expresses its deep and sincere sympathy to the family of Mrs. Hamilton upon her passing. Her loss we felt sorely felt in our community. Be it therefore resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the official minutes of the Sumter County School Board, and that a copy be presented to the family of Mrs. Hamilton. And the next individual was Miss Eloise Hart. She had 24 years of service for us. She was, again, a great lady that had a lot of community influence and really put her community first. And so her loss is great. The next is Mr. William Carruthers. He had 36 years with our service. He was a man that was well respected by his students, by his peers, and Mr. Carruthers and his family have done a lot for the community over the years. So Mr. Carruthers passing is definitely a devastation to the Wildwood community. Next, we have Miss Rachel Habhab, who I had the fortunate to be able to work with on the same campus. She worked with us for 30 years, and she also gave us Miss Colleen Habhab Strickland. This is Colleen's mom. And so that one means a little bit more to us because of Colleen, but she gave 30 years. She worked with our para and our pre-K system. She's a pre-K lead, and Rachel was there for our young children for many, many years. And so we thank her and her family for her service. The last one was Betty Jo Warren. She worked with us for 28 years, and she, again, was a remarkable woman, and we are very, our community is saddened by these losses, and we just wanted to remember them, and we were mailing these things home with a special letter and providing our sincere sympathy to all of them on your behalf. And the last thing that I have is for Mr. Hawkins. Whereas Sumter County School rate, where Sumter County Schools value and strive to recognize individuals who exemplify dedication, hard work, and sportsmanship. And whereas Marcus Hawkins has been the head coach for Wildwood Middle High School boys basketball team for the past 2 years, he has led his team to the state finals and won a state runner-up in 2019 and was heading to the state finals when they were canceled due to the pandemic. Whereas Marcus has brought distinction to himself, his students, his school, and honor to this district by being named the 1A Florida Association Basketball Coach of the Year for boys basketball for the 2019-20 school year. Now therefore be resolved that the Sumter County School Board sends its heartfelt congratulations to Marcus Hawkins for his outstanding basketball season and years of dedication and coaching. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the official minutes of the school board and a copy be presented to Mr. Hawkins. Unfortunately, Mr. Hawkins' second year in the state was cut short, but I have no doubt that those boys would have won this year. So those are my resolutions and presentations, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Moffett. Do I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve David Williams.
Motion by Mr. Williams,
Sally
Second.
Moss, second.
second by Ms. Moss. All those in favor?
Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
And Madam Chair, may I make a comment?
Yes,
I think this one is one of the most special items that our school district and our school board does, is these resolutions for those members that we have lost, for their family, and for other recognition. I mean, it's really special when we're all together and we can do it in person, but I think this is, it is really a special happening.
Agree. All those in favor?
Moss, yes.
We just voted, didn't we?
They've already voted, okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have 4.01 students. Any student here? Seeing none. 4.02, no citizens are here. Next, we have contracts and agreements, which there's a whole lot. So hang on. 7.01, Mr. Suber, South Sumter High Stadium seating contract reassignment, Cutler to BVB Construction. 7.01, Mr. Suber, Small Projects Architect Piggyback, CRA Incorporated. 7.01, Mr. Suber, Fire and Safety Services Piggyback, A-Line Fire Services. 7.01, Mr. Suber, Extension of Bid 353, Paint and Labor, Design Services of Florida. 7.05, Ms. Christian, 2019 to 2020 Curriculum Associates Contract. 7.05, Ms. Dustin, Sumter County Sheriff's Department Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Dustin Kristen SWOR Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Dustin Joan Riviera Bilingual Psychologist Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Dustin Lifestream Behavioral Center Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Dustin Goodwill Industries Suncoast Inc. Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Dustin Achievement Rehab Agreement updated. 7.05, Ms. Dustin Community Rehab Agreement updated. 7.05, Karen Reno Agreement updated. 7.05, Ferguson Clinical Agreement for UF Health and Sumter Schools. 7.05, Mr. Ferguson Agreement for College and Career Acceleration with Withlacoochee Technical College. 7.05, the addition is Mr. Ferguson South Sumter Sheriff's Office MOU Adult Ed GED. 7.05 addition, Mr. Ferguson Career Source Central Florida Training Provider Agreement for Adult Education. 7.05, Ms. Goodson 2020-21 Student Records Confidentiality Agreement with New Covenant United Methodist Church, Inc. 7.05, Ms. Goodson 2021 Stericycle Multi-Site Services Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Goodson 2021 Lake Sumter Children's Advocacy Center, MOA. 7.05, Ms. Goodson 2021 Youth and Family Alternatives, Inc. Interagency Agreement and Office Facility Use Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Goodson 2021 Contract with Bright Futures Learning Academy. 7.05, Ms. Goodson, 2021 Cornerstone Hospice and Palliative Care Agreement. 7.05, Ms. Goodson, 2021 Test Hound Subscription Services Agreement. 7.05, Mr. Shirley, non-district Sumter Virtual School Employee Contracts. 7.05, the addition is Mr. Shirley Avid College Readiness System Services and Products Agreement 2021. 7.05, the addition, Mr. Shirley Common Lit Proposal 2021. 7.05, Mr. Shirley Public Consulting Group Company. 7.05, Smith Attorney Employment Contract 2020-21, Mr. Felix Adams. 7.05, addition, Ms. Smith, Renew Retirement Plan Compliance and Administration Services Agreement with TSA Consulting Group effective July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. 7.05, Mr. Suber, Mid-Florida Community Services Meal Contract. 7.50, Mr. Shirley, Adgenuity 2021 Odyssey Ware K through 12 Comprehensive Enrollment Agreement. I had to read every one of those for the record like that, so I'm sorry, but it did. I had to say the 7.05 and now all of that, so we had to have it on record. All right, so I think I got those all done. Do I have any questions or do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve Jennifer Boyette. These look like pretty standard contracts from previous years. They're just lumped together, I think, a little more into one meeting this year. I'm glad to see we were able to work out agreements to continue some of the good coordination that we've had before.
Do I have a second?
Second by David Williams.
Okay, motion by Ms. Boyette, second by Mr. Williams. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
Motion passes. Thank you, guys. Facilities, 8.01, Facilities Activity Report. Mr. Suber.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening.
Under new construction, we are forming and pouring the columns at the stadium at South Sumter High School today. We're also starting the demo of the visitor side bleachers to get those new ones in also. Maintenance, working on relocatable inspections for the district before the school year starts and trying to take care of all of our other summer work orders out there prior to July, really now, to get things going. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. And then the addition, did you do the addition South Sumter Stadium improvement change order?
Yes, ma'am. That's a change order as well. It's tax savings again for us direct purchasing the bleachers.
Right. And the change order number 0032 also.
Okay. And that's a direct purchase of concrete on that one, also a tax savings for the district.
Okay. Thank you. Any discussion for Mr. Suber?
Yep. Moss, motion to approve.
Boyette, second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Moss and a second by motion by Ms. Boyette. All those in favor?
Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
Motion passes. 9.03, we have Business and Finance 2019-2020 Budget Amendment for May 20th, number 47 through 54. 9.15, addition, Mr. Suber, District Insurance with Brown & Brown and Hub. 9.50, addition, Ms. Smith, 2019-2020 External Auditor Engagement Letter with King & Walker CPAs for the district school internal accounts.
Motion to approve, Jennifer Boyette.
Motion by Ms. Boyette,
Second by Sally Moss.
Second by Ms. Moss. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Moss, yes.
Jennifer Boyette, yes.
David Williams, yes.
Motion passes. Next, we have personnel, staff allocation for Assistant Chief Custodial, 10.02, staff allocation, Adult Ed Secretary, 10.02 addition, staff allocation, custodial hours, 10.15 addition, staff reappointments, 10.15 staff reappointment, virtual, Sumter Virtual School Instructional Staff, 2020 to 21, 10.18 job descriptions, new, 2020 Assistant Chief Custodial.
Moss has one question.
Okay, Ms. Moss.
Who will the assistant chief report to?
Mr. Suber.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion by David Williams.
Second,
Motion by David Williams, a second by Ms. Boyette. All those in favor?
Sally Moss, yes.
yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next, we have curriculum 11.04. Ms. Christian, promotion for good cause, 11.50. Mr. Shirley, overnight travel, South Sumter High School cheerleading camp. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve, Jennifer Boyette.
Motion by Ms. Boyette,
Second by David Williams.
second by Mr. Williams. Any discussion?
I have one question. What are the chances this trip is really going to go on? Do we have any idea?
Mr. Shirley?
Yes, odds of it going on are probably pretty good, just because at this point, the timing, it's in July, the venues are open. So I think there's probably a pretty good chance, since all the youth activities have basically been given the green light by the governor, there's probably a pretty good chance that it will happen.
Well, that's great, because I think it'll be a great experience for the students and memories that they will keep with them forever.
Okay, all those in favor?
Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
Motion passes. Next, we have student services addition, Ms. Goodson, 2019 to 2020 district annual educational equity update report.
Any questions from the board or Ms. Goodson, or any comments you want to make?
Motion to approve, Sally Moss.
Second, Jennifer Boyette.
Motion to approve, Ms. Moss, second, Ms. Boyette. All those, any discussion? No more discussion. All those in favor?
Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
Motion passes. Next, we have grants. Ms. Dustin is 14.02, IDEA Part B entitlement, and IDEA Part B preschool grant.
Move to approve, David Williams.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Williams, second by Ms. Boyette. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Sally Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
And motion passes. Next, we have administration, 17.07, FADS annual dues, 2020-2021, 17.16, Mr. Shirley, student progression plan, 2020-2021, set date, time, place of hearing, which is going to be July 21st, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. in the school board meeting room in Bushnell, Florida. 17.50, addition, Ms. Moffett, reopening plan for summer on site, which we just went through.
Move to approve, David Williams.
Second, Jennifer Boyette.
Motion by Mr. Williams, second by Ms. Boyette. All those in favor, any discussion on those?
Miss Chris, Miss
Uh-huh.
Norris.
Yes, yes.
Hey, just wanted to say that I cannot thank, we have an outstanding team, which you've always recognized every time we meet, of the products that this team puts out. But I also, if you really look at the whole agenda and you see all those contracts and you see the grants, this was an extremely busy time for them normally. And they have worked hours and hours on the July plan and start working on the August plan. And so I just wanted to publicly commend them for a job well done.
And I agree. And Marla's over here and she's got them all together for us. And that took a lot of time after they completed them for her to get together too. So we are good all the way around. We appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Do we need a motion?
Wait, did we vote on that? We need a vote. We have a motion and a second.
Okay, Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams.
And motion passes. Thank you. Next is unclassified, the next 90 reports, staff reports 90.01. Any staff reports out there?
All right, staff members, any report that we didn't get to? Or anything
Hey.
new?
Hey, Mr. Shirley, this
Sure.
is Ms. Williams. Board members, I'm gonna just go over briefly the plan for August reopening. We have not put this out to anyone in written form solely because the draft isn't even finished just yet, but we just wanted to touch base a little bit with you about what it is gonna look like. Just some of the key points. In regard to curriculum and instruction, our team was tasked with coming up with 3 plans: a brick and mortar plan, where it would just be the children coming back to school face to face with all of the heightened security measures and safety protocols, a blended learning plan, as well as a full distance learning plan should we not be able to come back on August 10th, or should there be something happen once we've started school and have to move to the distance learning at any point. So I'm going to go through just a few of the highlights of those plans. In regards to the brick and mortar plan, some general pieces for pre-K through 12th. The expectations is that all teachers will be using Microsoft Teams, and that will begin the first week in all classrooms to incorporate into instruction. And instruction for students beginning the first week of school will include programs like email, Microsoft Teams, Skyward, ClassLink, Myon, and Accelerated Reader. We want that to become a routine thing in the classroom, so that if we do have to move to a distance learning or a blended learning plan, they will be routine practices for our kids. Certainly the first week of school, schools are going to administer the iReady diagnostic assessment, so that we can figure out where the gaps are, what the children are coming into the school year with. That will be completed within 2 class periods per subject that first week of school. And of course, all teachers pre-K to 12 are going to create 1 week of distance learning plans, just as a precautionary measure, so that we don't lose any valuable instructional time. Some specifics for elementary, little things like homework will not be assigned unless it's completed on a device. We will require that students take them home periodically, mainly to garner information about student access to internet, if there are any connectivity issues, and just their general understanding of distance learning practices. Academic interventions will be completed by our coaches and our MTSS coordinators and such as usual. However, we will be spacing the kids to adhere to the social distancing guidelines, and hand sanitizer and workspaces will be sanitized after each of the uses. to reduce traffic on the sidewalks and to support that social distancing. The music teachers at the elementary level will travel from class to class for instruction and will sanitize supplies in between the classes. Parents will be allowed to walk students to class the first 5 days of school. You know, that's very important at the elementary level for those little guys. However, you know, we're going to ask that they not enter the classrooms, and certainly will encourage everyone to wear face coverings. And finally, for elementary, students will remain with their cohort groups. We're going to try not to have a lot of changing of classes and things of that nature to prevent any cross-contamination and such. Social gatherings, schools will work to maximize social distancing and safety protocols during their back-to-school events like the Meet Your Teacher Days, the Title I open houses, and things of that nature. We'll try to stagger times, host meetings in individual classrooms, and certainly encourage parents and students to wear the face coverings. Media center programs, certainly a hot topic when we got the teams together to talk about this. Because of the new social distancing guidelines, media centers will be open, but we'll, of course, keep the number to no more than 50 students at a time, and return books will sit for 72 hours before being restocked. At the elementary level, kind of to reduce the unsupervised traffic on the sidewalks, we're going to encourage schools to create classroom visitation schedules so that for book checkout, to increase the number of books that students can check out, and to create kind of class book buckets that can be rotated each week for use. At the elementary level, the first 9 weeks of school, library books will remain on campus, and students in all grades K to 12 will now have access to MyOn and Access 360. And we talked about MyOn earlier. That's the access to the online books that they can read and test on. In regards to the one-to-one devices, every child in grades K to 12 will be assigned a device. So that'll be new for our little guys this year. And we're going to purchase more hotspots and provide some other accommodations to ensure students without internet access have reasonable alternatives and can access what is needed should we have to move to distance learning or blended model. When students arrive at school, of course, we realize or recognize that it is very likely that buses are going to have to drop kids off at the elementary schools 10 minutes earlier or so to accommodate for time in between the routes for disinfecting those buses. Schools are going to minimize, of course, their points of entry and do the temperature checks as needed through a visual assessment. If the child seems sick, of course, we're going to take the temperature and do just the same protocols that we would be doing during the July programs. Feeding, outdoor seating options are going to be maximized. Students not eating outdoors are going to adhere to social distancing, of course. We're going to try to, prevent them from changing seats while outside, those types of things. And there'll be grab-and-go breakfast carts utilized in multiple locations throughout the schools to assist with social distancing. So they'll be able to get breakfast and go to their early arrival areas, or some in the cafeteria. That will be more school specific. In regards to supervision, class changes, and social distancing, a lot of the things are still the same as they would be in July. We're going to, of course, track the traffic patterns and put up signage for kids to follow so that we're trying to get them all moving in the same direction. Certainly that will be most important at the secondary level, I believe, because of just the sheer amount of kids changing classes. For facilities, new this year, schools are going to designate a location on campus to be used as a sick room. And certainly there's always been the nurse's room, but we may have a little bit larger space because we need to keep the kids separated that are running a temperature of that 100.4 or higher from our well kids that are just going to the office for routine checks or to take medicine and such. Physical education and recess at the secondary level, locker rooms are going to be monitored by PE staff and the number of students are going to be limited to allow for those social distancing guidelines while dressing out. And of course, all the equipment and stuff is going to be sanitized between usage. Recess at the elementary level is going to have to be staggered so that, of course, classes aren't out in the same, 3 or 4 classes aren't grouped up in the same outdoor space. Plowing on through here, after school activities, that will be, of course, school specific, but at the elementary level, we want to begin, and even the secondary level, depending on the content area, after we give that diagnostic, really try to start those intervention programs earlier to address the learning gaps. The second model that we talked about is the blended learning plan. So we're moving from the face-to-face normal procedures with all the heightened awareness to the blended learning plan. And that is where if we have to move where we can't have all the kids on campus at one time, and that would be kind of a rotation. There would be a group A of students attending school on Tuesday and Thursday, a group B on Wednesday and Friday, so that teachers could provide instruction face-to-face and have the practice piece online the next day. There would be no students on campus on Monday, except in the pre-kindergarten classrooms and some of the self-contained classrooms that can meet the 1-to-10 ratio. Yes, Mr. Shirley is in here with me, and he's reminding me in regards to the group A and group B, first we would group kids based on the alphabet, of course, A to M in one group and N to Z in the other, and realizing that we will have some blended families, and that will be handled on a case-by-case basis. And the Mondays, oh goodness, there was oh yes, I'm sorry. Mr. Shirley reminded me, most of our holidays that kids are out of school are on Mondays. So we kind of chose Monday to be that day that students wouldn't be on campus who are in the group A or B. And then Mondays would look different at every school. It might include everything from professional development to common planning to teacher grading, teachers developing video lessons to virtually assist students. All of those pieces. So it would just be dependent upon the needs of the school and the students. As I said before, after school activities will be offered at the discretion of each school, and of course, what will comply with social distancing guidelines at that time. Our last plan we had to look at was the distance learning plan. We spent the last few months really surviving and putting a Band-Aid on our time spent at home doing the distance learning, but that can't be the norm for instruction in the district when we have new content to roll out to children. So we had to, of course, gather all of the things that we've learned over the course of the last 4 months and really create a plan that could take us through whatever amount of time will be needed, if needed, in the fall or the new school year. One thing that we needed to address right off were those students that choose not to participate or not participate in instruction and assignments, because certainly that can't be a norm. So for those kids, we would offer homeschooling options, virtual school, retention, placement at Sumter Prep or the Adult Education Center, because we cannot, of course, continue to allow them to sit home and do no instruction or and such. For the district, responsibilities in the district learning plan, the district is going to work to create a best practices for district learning document that would be rolled out district-wide to all teachers. We have spent a lot of time gathering input from teachers on the best practices for these kids and how to communicate with the kids and how to provide instruction and grading and the collection of work. And we want to roll that out, most especially for our new teachers that will be starting, and just try to better that process. So that's one of our goals. Secondly, a list of non-negotiables for distance learning in regard to curriculum and instruction, and what that means in regard to how teachers are going to roll out new content. Their focus is really going to be on the use of Microsoft Teams and all of the pieces that fall under the Teams application. The last thing the district is going to work on is a list of non-negotiables for communication with families and students. What we did learn is that because teachers want to ensure their kids are doing the very best that they can and want to ensure they're safe, we have spent a lot of time communicating with students and families through so many different ways that we need to streamline that a little bit and make it a little easier on parents and students and our teachers. So we're going to work on some best practices in regards to communication, and certainly a district-wide plan for taking attendance daily for our kids should we not be on campus. In regards to one-to-one devices, we will use the same rollout plan that we did for rolling out devices last March. And of course, Mr. Trick and his team will assist schools with that piece should it present itself and we have to do that. At the elementary level, beginning week 3, devices will be distributed to students in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, because we need to remember that those parents possibly have had certainly the children had no experience with navigating a device, the programs, or anything of that nature. So the goal will be to provide some training in small groups, of course, adhering to social distancing guidelines to parents, and then we can roll out devices in that way to the children at that time. Elementary paper packets will be distributed to pre-kindergarten students bi-weekly. If we can't start on August 10th, we'll have to roll out paper packets to 1st and 2nd grades as well. I'm sorry, kindergarten 1st and 2nd, until we can get that training and the devices rolled out over those first couple of weeks. Microsoft Teams will be the platform used at both the elementary and secondary level, with Canvas being included in some of the classrooms at the secondary level because of the college coursework. At the elementary level, teachers will teach and be expected to be on the computer with their kids between 8:30 and 11:30, and to include lesson delivery, modeling, collaborative practice, social emotional learning, assessments, you name it, it's going to happen in those few hours. At the secondary level, the plan is for them to maintain their normal school schedule because of all the content areas that have to be covered in the different periods that they would be attending with teachers. So it will look a little bit different at the different levels. Elective subjects for this elementary would occur in the afternoon, as well as any of the supplemental programs like Accelerated Reader, iReady, MyOn, and such. Inclusion services are going to be flexible, and that'll certainly be based on the needs of the students and what they're doing throughout the day. I'm going to move along here. Media funds, if we move to a full distance learning plan, media funds will be used to expand the MyOn collections, because we did get some feedback during this 4 months from elementary schools wanting more and more books. So, we're always going to do that because the little ones, want them reading early. So, finally, medically vulnerable students, we're going to, of course, review all the plans as Ms. Dustin talked about, even for the summer programs, those health care plans, and ensure that their needs are being met through IEPs, 504s. And if that isn't what they need to be, then, of course, she will convene her team and we'll get that taken care of. School nurses will work with transportation to ensure bus drivers know about those medically fragile students and the attention and interventions needed. We have nonviolent crisis prevention, our CPI training for students. Any students that are involved in that will, any staff that's involved in that, are going to have the personal protective equipment. So we're going to have to do a little bit of training on that. Student discipline, code of conduct will be used. And of course, any children that don't adhere to the safety rules and guidelines, health and safety, will have to be, handled on a case-by-case basis, but certainly will be using the code of conduct to address those issues. Finally, in human resources and professional development, some of that will go together, but we're going to work this summer to provide, actually for Mr. McKinney, to work with some teachers on those things that we talked about earlier, the best practices. And we're going to try to roll out some of that training during pre-planning to teachers pre-K through 12th grade, and possibly even some during the month of July, if we're able to do some of those pieces. So I'm hoping that that gave you at least a general overview of the program. I know that was long, but August is long, and both the Mr. Shirleys are laughing at me right now. I know it.
If that's a general overview, Dana, that was absolutely fantastic. That was just fantastic. Yes.
I appreciate you giving us an overview. There's been questions coming up, and you provided the information we needed to hear. Thank you.
Just
Of
had a
course, it
question.
may change. You realize when we have our workshop the 21st, we'll present it more formally than that for approval that evening. And so it may change a lot between now and then. The beauty of the summer program is the dry run on a smaller scale.
Well, you've heard of the sandwich, right? You say something nice, give the critique, and then yeah, my sandwich for school is, this is subject to change. Here's where we're at. But remember, I've got my own sandwich for it.
Well,
I just had a question here, just for my own information. How many new teachers do we have this year that's starting off brand new? Do we have any that this is going to be totally
at best? My guess is about 40, but
really new to the district.
That's
Yeah,
correct. Right
we're
now we
usually
have about
40 and
32.
60.
Wow. And also the volunteers will be able to start back when school starts to open, right? August 10th. The volunteers will be able, well, as far as we know now, we're going to.
Currently in the plan, we have that to be very limited access, not in the normal the procedures that are normally in place. I didn't go through all of that because Mr.
No,
Shirley
that's
told me to
fine.
make
I
it
just-
brief, and
I
he told
just
me I was
had a-
long-winded. So, but we
That was
certainly
Miss
want to
Williams.
utilize volunteers, and the team that is working on the public piece has an entire little plan in place for volunteers, visitors, all of those. So we're going to kind of, for lack of better words, phase them in.
Right. I just had some questions from volunteers on that, if they were going to be allowed next year, and they certainly need to be allowed. But anyway, we'll have to see there. Okay. Any other questions for this?
Well, I wanted to add in a comment for the attendance piece with just conversation that's been going around, not just in Sumter County, but in several surrounding counties, is some of the students talking about they don't understand why they have to log on. They finish their assignment, they have to log on just to say they're here and log back off. So if we could work toward parent buy-in with maybe a quick blurb of, attendance helps your student, being exposed to learning every day helps your child, but also it helps fund your school. Just some kind of quick explanation of, here's why we need you to log in every day, just to get that buy-in and to give them a why.
That's a good point.
Well,
good idea.
I think that in the plan, in the communication plan, we really talked about trying to find a common way to collect attendance, because we certainly, from the survey data that we collected, that was a frustration point for parents and students. Not always necessarily that they had to log in and do it, but some teachers were having them check it. They were checking the attendance through email. Some were through Skyward, some were through Remind. It just depended on the teacher and the school. And that, if you have 7 or 8 teachers in a school day and you're having to check Skyward 7 or 8 times, okay, after a while that we all recognize that's going to get old and irritating. So we are working, actually, I believe Mr. Huff and his department are working diligently to find a method that we can use that's, not going to burden anyone, but certainly collect the attendance data that we need. So I think once we can do that and roll it out a little cleaner, little easier, I don't think it will be an issue.
And Ms. Boyette, also, unfortunately, that is a data point.
Debbie,
that-
are you talking? Because you're muted.
Am I muted? No, I'm
Yeah.
not.
or-
Oh, I hear
couldn't
her.
hear you. Sorry.
Miss Moffett.
Unfortunately, that's a data point that even through this pandemic, the DOE requested daily attendance. So even though we agree with you, we are going to have to formalize it because we had to gather that and submit that to DOE.
Yes, I'm in agreement. We need to gather attendance data. Absolutely. We need to be collecting that data. The suggestion is just to include a why the data.
And that's an excellent point. Very good. I like that. We'll definitely put it in there.
Okay. Any other staff reports, Mr. Shirley?
I'm sure. All right,
I
any
have-
other staff report before I finish up?
I have one.
Yes, go ahead.
And mine will actually be brief as opposed to supposedly brief.
As opposed to the summary?
I'm feeling like the July presentation is done.
Hey, I'm feeling like Mr. Shirley, Mr. Alan Shirley will be the one presenting the full formal plan next month.
I think all I have to do is add a couple of bullet points and we've got it covered. So mine is actually very short. I just wanted to let the board know that Wildwood Middle High School has approached and requested and spoken with the superintendent, and we don't see any problem with them pursuing a girls flag football program. It won't be any additional cost because it will essentially be replacing girls soccer, which has not been able to generate enough interest to formulate a team. So they'll be able to use the same jerseys, and the flags are readily available through the PE department and things along those lines. So it's a budget neutral move that we think will help with Title IX and the balance of female to male athletes at Wildwood Middle High School. So looking forward to seeing what that looks like in the 2021 school year, and just wanted the board to know that that is something that's in the works. And like I said, I think it'll be a fun thing to see unfold.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, any other staff reports before I finish up? Okay, I just have a couple reminders. The workshop will be July 21st at 2:30. We'll try to feed you some ice cream or something as a little snack before that, but it'll be a long day. Reminder then, we also have a board meeting on the 28th as well, 2 back-to-back. Now that we've kind of staggered them a month apart, that'll be really unusual for us. And then I want to take just a moment to congratulate the staff for doing such a marvelous job on the summer school reopening plan and the initial stages of the August plan. You really have to understand that Friday at noon, we thought this thing was done, the summer plan. And then the governor made his announcement and we had to pretty much do a whole rewrite between then and now. And so I just want to thank staff for that. And they know I gave them all those speeches and all that other stuff. And but they absolutely hit a home run on this one. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the hard work. Also have 3 staff members I really need to recognize, Miss Moffitt and Miss Williams and Mr. Shirley. They are NISL graduates as of today at noon. And that stands for, help me out, Miss Moffitt, National Institute of School Leaders. Is that right? And it's, I don't know, what is it, a 2-hour program? Is that what it was?
180
I believe.
hours.
How many?
1 year.
180.
Wow.
Oh, not 2. Oh, my, did I sign y'all to that? I thought it was a 2-hour program.
No.
Anyway, they did a fantastic job and have learned a lot that's going to help our district and help our schools and help the kids from this. It truly was a lot of work, and they all had full-time jobs while they got all this done. And It was really a kind of unusual ending for them as well, because they had to do the distance learning and like everybody else did. So I do want to congratulate them and personally thank them for all that hard work, and can't wait for that to kind of show up in our school system as we begin to implement some of those good strategies. And then the last thing that I have is I want to congratulate Ms. Boyette and incoming board member, Mr. Sherman, for being unopposed, and you will serve, I know that you will serve the district well, and would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to thank Ms. Norris. How many years, Chris?
28. In November will be 28.
28 years as a school board member. And so I certainly want to thank her for that. And Chris, you know that we've come, what was the old phrase? You come a long way, baby. And that's kind of what we have. We have come a long, long way in 28 years. And I certainly appreciate your leadership and through all the years and the guidance that you provided as we've grown as a school district.
Well, it's ending up on an unusual note with all this.
Yes, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it?
I'm so glad
Anyway,
I got to experience.
congratulations to all of you, and I'm just thankful for every staff member, every board member that I have. So with that said, we will turn it over to Madam Chair.
Okay, next we have Sumter County Education Association. Anybody
Ms.
out there?
Norris?
Yes.
I believe somebody has one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Ms. Tregesser just sent me this note and asked me to read the statement from them. She
Okay.
says, with the ending of a most unusual year, we have still ended successfully and smoothly. We are now looking forward to beginning new and fresh by working together to put together a nice and welcoming new teacher orientation.
Thank you. 90.03 Sumter County Essential Support Personnel. Seeing none. 90.04 Attorney's Report.
90 point, yes, sorry.
Did you hear Mr. Felix?
I couldn't understand it.
Okay. He said, thank you for renewing his contract. Appreciates it.
Whoa. When did we do that? I don't remember renewing this. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We did that tonight.
I think it was like a 3-2 vote or something.
He barely made it, huh? Okay, 90.05 FSBA board appointment for legislative committee member. At the May 19th, 2020 board meeting, Kathy Joyner and David Williams were approved as legislative committee representative and alternative for the 2020-2021 school year. The title has changed and now they are advocacy committee representative and alternate. That's your new title.
Great.
So we appreciate you doing that. And then there's 90.05 board member comments. Anybody?
Moss has a comment.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I mean, we all know we are in uncharted waters right now, and I think our staff has done just an exceptional job. And I would like to also congratulate Mr. Shirley on being with us for another 4 years. He ran unopposed also, and congratulations to Ms. Boyette, and we will welcome Mr. Sherman in November when he joins the board. I am really looking forward to July and seeing everyone in person and being back in the district office and in our boardroom. I don't care that it's going to be a long day. It'll be just nice to be there. So for everybody, thank you all for what you have done. Keep staying healthy, stay safe, and we are getting through this day by day. That's it for me.
Thank you, Ms. Moss. Anybody else? Ms. Boyette?
I'd like to echo what Ms. Moss said. Thank you, everyone, for all the hard work right now. We, from the outside, looking through and preparing for the board meetings, can get a general idea of the work, but we don't know about surprise, announcements and changes and all the hours worked over the weekends until, you guys share that with us. And we are just so grateful for how dedicated y'all are to our schools and our students and our families. You really are an amazing team. So thank you. And just the other thought is, in hearing these presentations, it really makes you wonder, with a critical teachers shortage, what is education going to look like going into the future? Blended learning. Are we going to have students on campus with teachers a couple of days a week in a mass practice room 2 days a week? You never know where it's going to head from here now that we've done what the whole nation has been through, what it's been through. And even more eye-opening is, as hard as this has been, we have internet. Look at the other countries around the room that don't even have internet access and how they're managing that. So even in the hard times, we're still a very blessed nation.
Thank you, Ms. Boyette. Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am. A couple things. I do want to echo what Ms. Boyette just said about, what we're going to learn. With the COVID-19, all these businesses, including my own, we're learning what we're capable of doing. We're adapting. Things that we probably wouldn't have tried otherwise, we're doing because out of necessity. And we're learning that, wow, we're actually really good at this. The distance learning, we would have never done that. We would have never known if we were capable of doing that without this. So there is a brighter side of this. We have been forced to learn what we're really truly capable of, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to work this coming school year. And we're probably going to learn some things, and we'll probably say, you know what, this is a better way of doing it. And it's probably a win-win for the students as well as the teachers. So it's going to be interesting what we learn coming through this. Also, want to congratulate both South Sumter High School and Wildwood Middle High School for a wonderful graduation ceremony. What an amazing amount of time that it took into planning that. That's something that's never been done. In fact, I went back on our board website today and actually watched them a little bit more, watched them again today, because obviously we were there. We didn't get to see what the public got to see. So the fact that all that got pulled off, the staff, the citizens, the students, everybody pulled together to make it happen. So it's certainly special to see those graduations. So I'm proud of everyone involved with that. And also congratulations to Mr. Shirley again. You do a fantastic job. Your leadership is excellent. You got us through so many of these troubled times here, and we look forward to your continued leadership as well. So thank you all, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Williams.
you.
Really good staff.
It's just, I don't know if you can see, okay, my battery's just about gone, so we're just about there at the end. But I have a couple questions. One is the Lincoln Day dinner. Is it still a go or not?
This is Moss. As far as I know of, nothing has been planned.
Oh, so it's canceled.
What
Well,
happened to it being moved to the 27th?
Of what?
July. June.
No,
Yeah, June. Is that not happening?
no, it is not happening.
Okay. Okay, so no on that. And I also wanted to remind everybody on their ethics report that they need to get that into the state by July the 1st. If everybody's aware of that, to be sure and mail that. Okay.
And just a reminder, you have to check that little box right above where it gets notarized, and you'll miss it if you're not careful, that says you have the ethics training.
Right. So be sure and do that. And the other thing is, of course, congratulations to Miss Boyette and Mr. Sherman. And David, you won't be outnumbered anymore with women on here. Good
I
for
never
you.
felt outnumbered.
Good for you. Okay, well, I appreciate everybody's hard work in trying to do this. And I think our district is like a #1 for the whole state to follow behind, because we've done so many things first before anybody else. And it looks like we're still continuing to do that. So I want to thank everybody all involved and how hard everybody works. And I've enjoyed every minute of it and still got till November. So you're not rid of me yet. So anyway.
Madam Chair, I have one comment. I would just like to say that through all of this and these virtual board meetings, You have done an exceptional job.
Well, thank you,
Thank you.
because I'm the last person that's technical in this whole district. So
I was not going to say that.
Okay, so do I have the motion to adjourn?
So moved, David Williams.
Motion by Mr. Williams,
Second by
Jennifer
Sally Marsh.
Boyette.
second by Sally and Jennifer. All those approve.
Moss, yes.
Yes, Jennifer Boyette.
Yes, David Williams, and congratulations, Miss Boyette. I left your name out. Congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you.
And congratulations, Mr. Shirley. I forgot him. Okay, we are adjourned at 6:44. Thank you, y'all. Have a good